All right, today I'm here with Terral Davis, and first off, what branch of the military did you serve in?
Army.
Army? What years?
I joined in 84 and I retired in 13.
Wow, full career then, huh?
29 and a half.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
But
yeah.
unfortunately, I made a major mistake. I should have stayed in the active duty, but I got out and I finished in the reserves, and I shouldn't have done it.
You just should have stayed inactive the whole time?
I would have been retired 16 years ago.
So man. So what made you do the reserves instead of staying active? Just
well, I don't really know. At the time, you're 21 years old and you're not thinking logically.
yeah.
I made a few mistakes, and it's not going to do any good for this interview.
Well, yeah, obviously.
But I love talking to young people and try to tell them about the military because there is so many different jobs to do.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to be the combat.
Yeah, you don't have to be infantry. Yeah, you can be an engineer.
There's a zillion jobs out there.
IT, health field, all that stuff.
And the one good thing about the military, it allowed me, I've been all over the world for not always bad missions. Some of them were actually great missions. And I like to talk to young people about it because all you have to do is 20 years. And when you tell an 18-year-old 20 years, it seems like
that's their whole life, yeah.
But in reality, it goes by like that.
It does. I've been in this business for 15, and it felt like it went like that. It's unbelievable. My best friend signed up when we were 18, and he's was going to get out. He's in the Navy, but he just got a pretty sweet gig, so he's staying in for even longer. So it went by so fast.
It was kind of strange. My wife went to school in St. James, Missouri.
Yeah, winery.
And one of her classmates said, "You know, your husband was a vet. We want a vet to come speak to the children in the grade school." And so I volunteered, and I did it, and I did have fun. And I taught them the basic marching.
Yeah.
The basic marching, and I would march them around.
That's awesome.
But I did talk to them about the military. I don't know, you're talking about third graders. I don't know if any of it stuck, but
the marching, I'm sure did.
Well,
I bet they all went home and marched. And I bet the parents were happy for a day. So, 84, you said, right? What made you get in?
Well, you're 18. You want to get the heck out of
You can say
Marshville.
hell. That's fine.
Oh, no.
Okay, all right.
You want to get the heck out of Marshville, Missouri.
Yeah.
And one of my classmates said, "Hey, man, let's go join the Army." I was like, all right. So we did.
You know, it's funny how many I've been doing this thing for 5 years, and that you aren't alone. Where it was like, my buddy said he was doing it and talked me into it, and I went down, and I ended up staying longer in it than he did.
That's why I got in the reserves, actually, because I got out of the Army. And 2 years later, one of my buddies, he got out, and he goes, "Terral, we got to make money." He goes, let's join the reserves. Hell, they don't go to war. That is way wrong.
Yeah, that's way wrong. The reserve is we ran out of these guys, and we need our reserves.
Not anymore. Now, half the fighting force is reserves, which I'm criticizing it because you don't retire until you're
done.
You don't draw a paycheck till you're way old. Now, I was benefited by becoming a VA, a person. I got my VA card. That helped me a lot because 5 years ago I had a pretty major motorcycle crash. Mm-hmm. I coded twice.
Oh, wow.
I had like 21 breaks in my body,
Holy
brain
moly.
injury, you name it. It was, and I coded twice. But when they was hauling me in, I was in a freaking coma for I don't know how long. But they said, "Hey, this guy's a veteran." And so they sent all the bills, $1,300,000 to the VA, and VA rejected all of it. And that was kind of, which it was okay. I had a civilian job with, I had medical benefits.
Yeah,
so it was all good. If you didn't, you're up a creek.
Oh, yeah.
But,
VA.
but after that, I got to questioning, and I found out that you can get a VA card. There's just hoops you have to go through.
Yeah,
to
they
get
don't
it.
make it easy for you to do.
They don't make
No,
it easy.
It's
And
just the guys.
one of my homeboys, I just told him that the other day. I said, "Dude, you got to get your VA card because he's a vet." He goes, "Well, I didn't retire like you." I was like, "That don't matter, bro. You was in hazardous duty during Desert Storm, so you've done your time, bro." So he's doing it now. But
It's
anyway,
good. I don't know why they make it so damn difficult.
1 month ago, after the motorcycle crash, I had a brain surgery during the crash, but a month ago I had another brain surgery resulting from the crash, and the VA picked it up, every bit of it.
Wow.
The $1,300,000 they didn't touch it, but this $70,000 brain surgery they nailed it all. So it behooves you, if you're just a weekend warrior, get your VA card.
Yeah. Fight for your benefits. It sucks that
Exactly.
they make it hard for you to have to do that, but that's a fact and you need to. So that's a good
They
reminder.
covered it all.
So I'm assuming you did spend time overseas in Desert Storm. Is that what you...
I didn't do Desert Storm. I did Bosnia, Afghanistan, and you can't really count Kuwait. That was Camp Cupcake. There wasn't nobody shooting at me there.
Yeah.
But at that point in time, Kuwait was still paying hazardous duty, which it's not anymore, which it shouldn't have been then. I was there for a year, and there was no conflict there.
It was just business as
Nothing.
usual.
Nothing.
Wow.
But Bosnia was, nobody ever talks about that. That's kind of like the forgotten one. But,
Yeah, I understand.
But I got, shiza. I don't like that this is all reading recording, but I got shot at more times in Bosnia than I did in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I can imagine from what you hear. That's unbelievable. So, something else we want to talk about. You ride, which is, you still ride, right?
It's funny. When I had the bike crash, and I come out of that, and it was months and months of brain recouping and all this other stuff. It was months of, I mean, this leg is titanium, this rib cage is all plated, it broke everything. But I was in a wheelchair for months, and the docs were saying I'd never walk again. And I got little man syndrome. Don't tell me I'm not going to do something.
That's probably the best thing he could have told you.
Yeah, probably. But it was funny because I bought the Harley I have now while I was in a wheelchair, and they're telling me I'd never. And the docs, they was like, "You bought another one?" And I was like, "Let me tell you something, Doc. You got to kill me all the way because I love riding. I've rode all over this country."
You're right though. I love that. You got to kill me all the way. So Terral actually is an author, and he brought a copy of his book called Road Thoughts, which you self-published, and it's basically kind of about your obviously time riding around the country.
Well, it was supposed to be. Here's what. Okay, shiza, I'm getting off track again.
That's
bro.
all right.
This says Vacilandos. Years ago, a professor that I knew, I was in the military with him, he told me about a John Steinbeck book. And in the book, he mentions it's not even a real Spanish word, vacilandos. And in the book, to be a vacilando, it means you just want to go. And you don't really give a rat's butt when you get there, or even if you get there. It's just your passion is to go. And this professor, who he's now, he quit teaching in college and opened up a brew pub up in Hamilton, Missouri. So now he's a brewmaster. But anyway, he goes, "Terral," well, for starters, he introduced me to the book, and I read the book. I loved it.
Steinbeck's one of the best American,
He is.
one of
He
the
is.
greatest American authors of all time.
You've got to read
Hands down. Hands
Travels with Charlie.
I think I may have when I was in college because I went through a really big Steinbeck period during that period. I need to revisit it, but I've read a ton of Steinbeck. It sounds
Me too.
familiar, but it's like one of those things. I have a really bad problem with rush. You know what I mean? I'm not patient. I go through things fast and I binge things. the problem with that is you don't retain it as much. You know what I mean? I mean, when the Harry Potter books, for example, were coming out, I read every one of some of those. I read cover to cover in a day, 2 days. Could I tell you what happened in them? Not very good. But so you see what I mean? I have a problem with retain because I rush through things.
So he told me about the book, and I read it, and I loved it. And he goes, I want you to write a book about everything that goes through our minds when we're riding. And me and him, we haven't rode all over the country together, but we rode over a lot of it together in the time that I've known him. And he goes, I want you to write a book. And I was like, dude, you're the professor. I'm not a professor. He goes, yeah, but you're the one with the imagination. So I thought, okay. So that's where I came up with Road Thoughts, was to write about the things that's going through my mind. Because we did that when we'd ride across the country. Every time we'd stop at the next little gas station to get a coffee or whatever, we would talk about all the stuff we were thinking about, looking at the environment and the drivers and the mountains.
Yeah.
And so that's what the basis of the book was all about. What goes through your mind when you're riding. But unfortunately, that took me a lot of years to finish it. And I completed college while I was doing the book. I went to Afghanistan and Kuwait while I was doing the book. And I don't think I was doing it in Bosnia, because that was a long time ago. It was way back. So it was mostly, but a lot of the book is I'm in a foreign freaking country. So it's not all writing thoughts, unfortunately. Maybe my next one will be all writing thoughts.
But hey, it's a really good, especially if you are, like I'm big on human connection in the human story. That's the big reason why I do this. I mean, obviously we're honoring veterans, but more than that, I think it's about the human story and about the human connection. Each story is individual, and that's what you get with this, which is important. It's valid.
Well, I brought that to give it to you.
I appreciate it.
And I didn't know if you were a reader.
Yeah, I'll read it,
I guess
totally.
you are.
Yeah.
Now, I am totally cool with criticism. It ain't going to hurt my little panties at all. And looking back, I could have done it better. I know I could have done it better. But I still, one of my biker friends, she told me, when I read your book, I cried 4 times. Well, and I was like, well, I guess I accomplished that mission.
I can't wait to read it. Thank you for bringing it.
Cool.
Are you working on another book?
Well, I said I keep thinking about it constantly, but I think I have to be fully retired. And that way I can just go.
Yeah.
And right now, you have to work. So you don't really have the freedoms.
Those hours that you get at home, you want to spend doing other things.
I plan on writing another one. I haven't really decided if it's going to be on the road again, what I think on the road, or is it just going to be the world the way I see it. Because many times in life, I don't view things the way the majority views it.
Mm-hmm.
I constantly being pointed out that, Terral, you can't think that way. You can't. I'm like, oh, okay. I can't think that way. I just don't always see the world the same way the population does.
Yeah. Well, that's part about being human, man.
I guess.
I mean, that's
sure makes people mad when you don't agree with them.
But again, if we all agreed, what kind of boring place would we live in, right? If we were all wearing the same stuff, believing the same things, it would not be the great country we call America.
Well, perhaps.
I guess. Well, can't wait to read this book. Terral, thank you so much for coming to lunch today, and thank you so much for your service. I really appreciate it, sir.